August 12, 1935, in Albany, New York, a boy was born who would go on to redefine our understanding of evolution. Leigh van Valen was not just another scientist, he was a visionary. From an early age, Van Valen showed extraordinary promise. In first grade, he was recognized as most academic, a title that foreshadowed his remarkable intellectual journey. His passion for science led him to Miami University in Ohio, where he completed his bachelor's degree in zoology in just 3 years, by the age of 20. He excelled not only in biology, but also in chemistry and even poetry. After graduating with his bachelor's degree, Van Valen continued with his academic studies at the highly regarded Ivy League school, Columbia University. While at Columbia, he studied under the legendary George Gaylord Simpson and Theodosius Dobzhansky, both pioneers of the modern synthesis of evolution. The modern synthesis of evolution, a theory that explains how life evolves through genetic change, combined Charles Darwin's theory of evolution with Gregor Mendel's ideas on genetics and heredity. Their influence would help shape Van Valen's groundbreaking theories in evolution. After earning his PhD in evolutionary biology in 1961, he completed postdoctoral fellowships at Columbia University, University College in London, and at the American Museum of Natural History. In 1967, Van Valen joined the University of Chicago faculty as an assistant professor of anatomy. For the next few decades, he rose through the ranks. In 1971, he became an associate professor, and by 1976, a professor. By the time of his death in 2010, he was given the honorary title of Professor Emeritus in the Department of Ecology and Evolution. One of his major contributions to evolutionary biology was the law of constant extinction, also known as Van Valen's law. He proposed that a species' likelihood of extinction remains constant over time, regardless of how long it has existed. This meant that extinction occurred randomly with respect to time, but not randomly with respect to ecology, with fossil records supporting the idea. But perhaps his most famous theory was the Red Queen hypothesis, the idea that species must constantly evolve to survive in an ever-changing environment. The name comes from Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, in which the Red Queen tells Alice, "Now here you see it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place." Like in the story, Alice must run as fast as she can to stay in the same place. The hypothesis describes how organisms must constantly evolve and adapt just to maintain their position in an ever-changing environment. One of the best applications of the Red Queen hypothesis is in host-parasite interactions. As hosts evolve better defense mechanisms, such as immune responses, parasites evolve better ways to infect them. This ongoing arms race keeps both species locked in constant adaptation without one permanently winning. Van Valen also introduced the ecological species concept, arguing that species should be defined by their role in an ecosystem rather than just their genetic differences. If two populations occupy different niches, they are considered different species even if they can interbreed. Unlike the biological species concept, which defines a species as a group of organisms that can interbreed and produce fertile offspring, the ecological species concept emphasizes how species evolve and persist in their specific environments. This concept can be useful in identifying species that produce asexually, such as bacteria and some plants, and can even be applied to fossil species. On January 20th, 1967, the paper Monophyly or Diphyly and the Origin of Whales was published, which Van Valen was the sole author of. This paper discusses the evolutionary origin of whales, examining whether they evolved from a single ancestral lineage, monophyly, or multiple distinct lineages, diphyly. The paper supports the monophyletic hypothesis, in which he argued that whales likely evolved from a single group of terrestrial mammals known as Mesonychians, an extinct group of carnivorous hoofed animals, but more specifically a descendant of the species Pakicetus. At the time of publication, Pakicetus were believed to be a mesonychid, but according to molecular biology, they were an early cetacean and an artiodactyl. Van Valen studied the anatomical and functional transitions necessary for fully aquatic life, such as limb modifications and changes in scroll morphology. Van Valen began studying HeLa cells in the late 1960s. His work particularly focused on the genetic and evolutionary aspects of these cells, which led him to propose that HeLa cells had diverged enough from human cells to potentially be classified as a separate species. This research culminated in his 1991 proposal, along with Virginia Majorana, to name the new species Helaceton gotleri. For Leigh van Valen, being a visionary came with challenges. His work was often admired for its originality, but were sometimes considered too speculative, which limited their acceptance. His groundbreaking paper, A New Evolutionary Law, faced numerous rejections before being published in 1973 in the journal Evolutionary Theory, which he himself founded and edited. His idea on HeLa cells was not widely accepted by the scientific community, as HeLa cells are still generally considered an immortalized cell line rather than its own species. During his time, he was highly respected but somewhat underappreciated compared to his contemporaries Stephen Jay Gould and Niles Eldredge. Although his ideas were not always accepted immediately by the scientific community, they have still had lasting impacts on evolutionary biology, such as the Red Queen hypothesis. His personal life was full of changes. He met his first wife, Phoebe May Hoff, at Columbia, and together they had 2 children, Katrina and Diana. After their divorce in 1984, he married Virginia Majorana, though that marriage also ended. At the time of his passing, he was engaged to Tawako Kasuno, a Japanese professor of geriatric nursing. On October 16, 2010, at the age of 75, Leigh van Valen passed away due to complications from leukemia and a rare fungal pneumonia. His loss was a great blow to the scientific community. His ideas continue to shape evolutionary biology. His famous aphorism, "Evolution is the control of development by ecology," remains a guiding principle for scientists today. Leigh van Valen's legacy is one of curiosity, resilience, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge.